Hello, I am Dr. Amjad Mahmood from AIOU-COL Open University, Pakistan. In my last video lecture, I discussed some very basic elements of JavaScript like variables, expressions, and assignment statement. Moving forward, this video lecture is about writing conditional statements in JavaScript. Many a times we want to perform some action if a certain condition or conditions are satisfied. Conditional statements in JavaScript provide us with the constructs just to specify when an action should be performed. But before we discuss the conditional statements themselves, we need to look at conditional and logical operators which are used to write the conditions. The conditions generally are composed of two or more values or variables in JavaScript. These operators and operands can be combined together to make the conditions. Let's look at some of the logical operators provided in JavaScript. So the comparison operators you can see in this table. We have the operator equal, which is used to compare two values or variables or expressions. For example, we have written 40 greater than 10. If this condition is true, of course the result will be true, otherwise the result will be false. That means when we apply the comparison operators, the result of the expression is always a Boolean value, that means true or false. The next operator is greater than or equal to. Then we have less than equal to, equal to. Note that for equal to you have to use the equal sign twice. Using the equal sign once, basically it is the assignment statement and not the comparison. Then we have another interesting operator which is called strictly equal to. This operator gives you the true value if and only if the two values that you are comparing with each other, they are not equal but they are of the same type. Now we can write complex conditions by simply combining the simple conditions together with logical operators. In JavaScript, we have the following logical operators. We have the operator logical AND, which can be used to combine two simple expressions, comparisons together. We have the operator OR and NOT. The logical operator AND gives you the true value if all the expressions which are combined together with AND operator are true. Even if a single comparison is false, then the result will be false. For OR operator, even if a single condition is true, it will make the whole condition true. Whereas the logical NOT operator basically converts the true value into false or false into a true value. Now we know what are the comparison operators which can be used to compare the values. Whenever you make the comparison, the result is always true or false, and then this simple comparison can be combined together with the logical operators AND, OR and NOT to make more complex conditions. Important thing is, whenever these conditions are evaluated, the result will always be a Boolean value. That means it will be true or it will be false. Now, these are the conditions that we need to write when we are going to do some selected operations or selected task in a program. For that, The first statement that we are going to discuss that can be used to do some selected task in a program is called the if statement. So let's see how an if statement is written in JavaScript. An if statement in JavaScript starts with a reserved word if, then inside the bracket we write an expression that should result into true or false value, and then we write a statement. Now what it really means that the first thing, the expression is evaluated. If the expression gives me the true value, then the statement will be executed. If the expression evaluates true false, then the statement which is written in the if statement will not execute, and the program execution starts just after the if statement finishes. Let's see one example that how if statement can be used to write a simple logic. So in this example, you can see that we are using a variable marks with some initial value. In our case, it's 80. Then we write the if statement where we check a condition. The condition is are marks greater than 50, and if this condition is satisfied, that means if this condition is true, then the statement which is the alert statement that will execute, and the execution then continues normally. But if the condition is false, then the alert statement will not execute, and the execution will resume from the next line which is written after the if statement, that is the document.write. Now if you want to execute more than one statement when a condition is satisfied, then all those statements have to be put into what we call a statement block. A statement block is made by putting a number of statements in opening and closing curly brackets. Let's see one example. So here we have a variable marks with some initial value. Now you can see that if the condition is true, then we want to take two actions, which is alert, you passed, and again another alert, which is you passed. So these two statements will execute if the condition is true. If the condition is false, then these two statements will be skipped, they will not be executed, and the control goes to the statement which is just after the if statement. Note here that these two statements after the if statement have been made as a block by writing them in the opening and closing curly brackets. So we have seen how to write a simple if statement where some action is performed only when a certain condition is satisfied or it is true. But there are many programming situations in which you must choose between two alternatives. For example, if the condition is true, then you want to take some set of actions, and if the condition is false, then you want to do something different. So to choose between alternatives, JavaScript provides if-else statement, and if-else statement is written as shown in this slide. So we write the keyword or the reserved word if, then the condition is written inside the bracket, then we have statement 1, else, again which is a keyword or the reserved word, and we have the statement 2. Now what it really says that if the condition is true, then statement number 1 will execute and the whole else part will be skipped and the execution starts after the statement number 2. So statement number 2 is not going to be executed. But if the condition is false, then the statement number 1 will not execute and the control goes to the else part, that means statement number 2 will execute and then the rest of the program will execute normally. Just like in simple if statement, if you want to perform more than one action, either when the condition is true or when the condition is false, then you have to use the same technique. That is, you have to make a block of the statement. You can see in this example. So we have if statement here which says marks are greater than 50. So if this condition is true, then you want to take these two actions, alert and alert. And you can see that we put both of these statements in the curly brackets to make it a block. Similarly, the else part is also a block of statements. So there are more than two statements written there. So if the condition is true, then these two, the first two statements, alert you passed and alert well done will execute, and the whole else part will be skipped and the execution will resume from the next line after the if statement, which is document.write. But if the condition is false, then we simply go to the else part where alert you failed and alert do better next time. Both of these statements will execute and then the execution of the program starts from document.write. So this is the way we write simple if statement and if statement with an else part. Now JavaScript allows you to embed or nest the if statement. That means the then part or the else part can itself be another if statement, and all the statements and the condition will be checked normally from top toward bottom. Whenever a condition is met, then that part of the code will execute and the remaining part of the code will be skipped or not executed. Let's see in one of our complete program that how we can use if statements. So we opened our HTML document template and we are going to add some JavaScript code in it. Our JavaScript code really starts with the tag script. We declare a variable marks with some initial value and then we write an if statement. The first condition is that if marks are greater than 90, so if this condition is satisfied, document.write A+ will be displayed. In the else part, we have another if statement. That's what we mean by nesting of if statement. That if the first condition is false, we go to the else part and check the second condition. Here the second condition is if marks are greater than 80. If this condition is true, then document.write A will execute and remaining all of the if statements will be skipped or not executed. Otherwise, we have another if statement in the else part to check the third condition and so on. So this is our end of the script. We can save the file and see its output in the browser. And you can see the result is B, which depends on the initial value that was given to my variable marks. Let's change the value of the marks and see its effect on the output. Now the value of the marks is 65, and you can see you get the output C. So this is the way an if and a nested if statement works. So in this short video, we discussed what are the conditional statements, what are the logical and comparative operators, and how to write a simple if statement, how to write if statement with an else part, and how to do the nesting of the if statements. JavaScript provides some other selection statement as well. That's what we will discuss in our next video lecture. Till then, thank you very much.